introduce the next moderator of this panel, Jolie Odell, my colleague and writer at VentureBeat. Jolie, welcome.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Welcome, thank you.
It is so good to see y'all. We have got such a full house. I guess everybody but me really loves social media. Hi guys, how are you all? So, yes, no, my deep dark secret is that I'm getting a little too old for social media. And things just start to tick me off. I'm a total curmudgeon, so I hope that you will help me see the light and show me the redeeming value in all these applications. Let's start with the last company that just presented Itography. I feel like it was an AR gaming company that said, wait, how are we going to make money? Okay, now we're an ad company. But I thought what they were doing was kind of cool. What do you guys think?
I was just a little confused, I have to say. So I always like the concept of anything that's got anything to do with shoes is a really good way to get interested, and I also love the fact that it's a female presenting, so you know, good for girls. But I just was a little confused as to exactly what the objective of the game was and what you were trying to do. So I'd just like to have it explained in a little more detail, would be right.
Fellas? Shoe hunters?
You know, I've always liked the idea of geocaching. I think it's a pretty fun thing, and kind of felt like that was sort of what was going on in the
But
game.
geocaching is just so deeply nerdy, you know?
Yeah, no, so trying to tie it to shoes, trying to make it much more easy to attach to and be involved with, but I did worry that whenever you're building a company, if you start with, hey, we're going to figure out how to disrupt ads instead of create this really engaging experience, you might get a little bit confused in the message or in what the product turns out to be.
Well, it's nice to know that they're thinking about money and revenue out of the gate. That's refreshing. Okay, let's I lived through the .com, I can say that. The .com boom and bust. Okay, so let's rewind a little bit and talk about Gomatic. Now this is one where it made me feel old. I was like, going out with my friends used to be so simple, and now I have to use this app. Do you guys think that it would streamline that process or made it easier for specific circumstances?
I mean, I like the idea of the on-demand social network. I mean, if you think about how many times you're in a place you're like, man, I wish I could gather a bunch of people who's near me and do something, but that hasn't been solved yet, so that's really cool.
I had this worry of walking into a bar or a restaurant, and instead of actually looking at everybody in the room, everybody's just looking down at their phone, talking to each other.
Isn't that how it is now?
That's
actually doesn't change.
Talking to each other.
Yeah, well, it's sad. I think that's Ray Kurzweil's fear of the future, is that that's all we're going to do. Maybe it's my fear of the future or the present. So,
but I do think that opportunity, you know, the piece about not having to be a permanent friend, and I know it's a busy space because I think there are other companies who do the same thing, but I think the person who gets that it's so easy to do, and it looked very simple. I liked the sort of the big red button idea of what they were proposing. I think could be a really interesting concept, and it's a nice way to do that. We're all at one event where we want to share this set of photos, but actually we don't necessarily want to post them onto Facebook or share them with our true friends. We just want to share them with this transient group of friends that we have.
that's an interesting point. Let's go all the way back. If you can remember, the very first presentation we saw was MyPref, and before I saw the demo, I thought, you know, finding products nearby might be really interesting and really valuable for normal people who just, you're new in town, you left your laptop charger at home and you need to find a new one. Where's the closest one going to be? But then I was talking to them a little bit backstage. Right now they're just doing food and lifestyle. That's where they're starting. Is that the wisest place to start, do you think?
You know, I think finding things around you is a really important, really hard problem, but I think you really want to be, I think it's good that they're picking at least one or two specific verticals to start with, because it's really hard. On your phone you have a bunch of buttons and you start to associate each button with a specific need or purpose, and so if you're like, hey, you can find anything, then it gets very hard to know what to use that app for. So it's just find restaurants or just find fashion. At least that's a better start than trying to be broad, but I got a little bit stuck on even between food and fashion, how those really fit together.
I think the concept is fantastic, and I think there are a couple of other companies who are doing it. When I've tried to use them, there are not enough merchants that they have access to, which means it's not quite as good at being as local as you would want it to, you know. And I think the example was it drives you to Macy's, which might be, you know, always local, but if you're looking for something you know, more local? How do you get that interaction with all of the merchants? But the concept is brilliant. I'm here, I want this, and I want it right now.
Yes.
And the ability to click from ads, I think, which is where they started, is if I could just look at the ad on the page, click from that ad and say, where can I find this? That would be even better.
Yeah. I felt like all the other features, and as the demo went on, I was like, wow, this is a very feature-rich, feature-heavy app. I almost felt like it got a little bit overloady at times, and if they could just pare it down a little bit to like, where's the thing near me that I need and want right now, that would be amazing. Okay, Rec Bob. I'm not personally into exertion, so sports are not my thing, but they were talking to me backstage, and they said 1 in 4, you know, 1 in 4 Americans will do a recreational activity / sport. And they can't pin that down to how many are playing, you know, in leagues with their coworkers or whatever. But what did you think of their whole system?
You know, I don't do, all my sports are individualistic, but I do have a band, a 10-piece band, and I was just looking at that text messaging, are you showing up to practice today? And yes, and I was like, oh my God, I would pay for that. So, you know, I can imagine people who are trying to get softball teams in even larger groups together. That could be very, very compelling to have a platform to do it in multiple ways to interact, especially the mobile real-time component of got a doctor's appointment going to miss versus, yeah, I'll be there.
The bit that I got was, I've a son who plays in multiple teams. So he plays AYSO, he plays Little League, he plays, you know, he plays in all different sports. And I end up with 15 different emails. Someone might use Shutterfly and coordinate that activity, but there seems to me to be a huge opportunity to get something like AYSO as an example, and use this for all kids and all parents to be able to communicate, as well as the sort of the social and the adult sports side. That was what struck me.
I really liked the fact they felt like they were building the product for themselves that they wanted to use in their lives, and that really came through. And just the way that their lives are now mobile and sometimes at a computer and usually on the go, I really felt like they were really bringing all of that to bear in the product they're building.
I think the SNS piece was like really, really great and valuable.
And that was a real solving a real problem that you could identify with for me.
I hate to rush us along, but let's go to vlinks, Filinks. I feel like this is trying to, again, it's trying to take something simple and make it a little bit complicated with sharing videos. And I thought the UI was, maybe this is just me, I didn't think it was significantly less confusing than a normal camera roll, maybe even a little bit more confusing because of all the features. But am I just too old for this job?
So, you're the youngest person on the stage and you keep making the old comments, so would you please stop it?
I'm very all-reserved. But what am I saying? Maybe I'm too curmudgeonly for this.
That's possible. I actually thought the user experience was amazing. In fact, I had an aha moment of, you know, I don't take videos at all, but I was thinking if you take big data attachments generally, you don't know what you have, they're dense, you have a long list. I really like the fact that they pulled out the snapshots. I totally got the UX. I thought that was amazing. If I took a lot of videos, I'd be all over it.
I also loved actually the ability to transfer where you're storing your data. That looked like an incredibly simple piece to add to it. I guess, as with all of these things, eventually, should it be everything? Should it be photos and all of the other things that you want to store? Because will everybody go to all different portals in order to capture those different things? And the other bit is, how do you just, I think what they were saying is they pick the 4 best moments out of that video, and I'm not sure how they choose that, but they pick that, and I'd love to be able to go, this is the moment I want you to watch, so that looked great.
Do you have any thoughts on that? You're good.
I mean, I actually like the video idea quite a bit. I worry a little, the design of 4 scenes didn't look that beautiful to me, which might be what you're commenting on, but the idea of simplifying a 2-minute video of my daughter running around in the 5 seconds that really matter, that's what I want to be able to share out. If I could do that every day, I would start using this product immediately.
Okay, good points all. Now, Blipboard, finally, this is finding cool things nearby. It's a location-based social network. What did you guys think about that? I'm not going to say a peep.
So, I was really worried that it was going to buzz me a lot if I turned it on and sort of tell me every time I'm around something. And when I'm in a city, that seems like it would be really, really noisy.
Especially if you have a lot of friends and they're really active.
Yeah, and they're doing a lot. So, but on the other hand, finding things around me, I think, is something that I'm really curious and always wanted to do. So if they have the best data set, I would see using this over like Yelp or something.
if I can limit the friends, so I don't want my entire friend set, pick the 10, 20, 30, 40 people you really trust their restaurant recommendations, for instance, and now be able to take the legacy Twitter info, which was tweeted once, lost, and dead, and bring value to that, because you can bring that to the present as I walk by the restaurant. It's a winner. I've got on my thing, use it, download it. So
Wow.
I'm excited about this one.
Okay.
In fact, same. In fact, we shared the same comment of the ability to go back and find when someone had been in Boston and you suddenly were in Boston, you couldn't find that piece that they tweeted or put on Facebook is fantastic.
You know, it reminded me a little bit of Food Spotting, which is an app I love kind of for the same reasons. Alrighty, y'all, we have a very, very special guest coming out next. I'm going to bring out Matt Marshall, my good boss, and he is going to bring out our next guest, so stay right where you are, and we'll go away.